Good morning. It's time for Precision Talk. I'm Marketing Manager Frank Olmsted with HGS Ag. Joining us this morning, we've got Technology Advisor Jay Robinson. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning, Frank. How are you?
Doing fantastic, sir. A lot of what we've been posting on social media this past week has been about the return on investment that Ag Leader can provide. And I can spout numbers off all day long, but I thought maybe you had some real world examples from actual producers that you've talked to.
Yeah, and I know the numbers are they differ or vary for what kind of what ground you have and the different hills and the turns, but there's so many different ways that ROI comes into play, and that's what we inevitably want for anybody that buys anything is we want it to pay you back more yield, less inputs, whatever that may be. But just I know we talked about planter systems a little bit, and turn compensation is a big one. I know it doesn't sound like a big one, but when you are spreading out your outside rows and compacting your inside rows too close as far as spacing goes. There's a 3% increase on yield just on turns and turning compensation with planting. But that even bleeds into spraying too. Spraying too much on the outside or not enough on the outside, too much in the inside. So there's a lot of different ways that we can certainly help out with whatever system that you're looking for.
Absolutely. And some of the numbers, and I don't have them right in front of me, but some of the numbers are, it was like when you're going around the turn, the inside is planting at, if your average is 33,000 per acre, the inside's planting at 47, the outside is going to be planting at like 22
Right.
because it's not getting that, and the inside's working harder than so that's a lot of waste there on the inside and some yield loss there on the outside.
And
And
yeah, because
that's
you're
going
getting
to
it
trickle in throughout the planter.
exactly, and that's it's both sides of that spectrum, and I think that's where that the increase in the yield comes from is you are getting the spacing too close on the end and way too far on the outside. So those along the whole bar, you're losing something every time you're turning. If you have something with like ground drive, that's not going to change how fast those meters are spinning. So that turn compensation is a big deal. And I know I had a couple uh, customers that got Right Spot, and the very first field that they sprayed with Right Spot, they already determined that 7 less acres is what they sprayed in that field with that precision spraying system than they did with what they were using before. And seven
Right.
acres on inputs is a big deal.
Yeah, without losing any of the coverage, and getting the same droplet size and making sure that you're getting that accurate spread throughout the field, and then
Absolutely.
spraying your entire field, and then your sprayer says, yeah, you did 7 less acres. Well,
But you
huzzah!
covered all of them. So how did
Right.
that happen? So hey, that's where we can win on less input. Less came out of your pocket to put on the field, and then when you're planting, less seed needs to be wasted as you're putting it in with the turn comp. And I tell you what, the difference is significant, especially when the corn starts to grow and you can see how even everything is, no matter what type of terrain you're on.
Absolutely. And speaking of, corn popping up evenly, an increase of like 22% uniform emergence when you have downforce. So,
Right.
and plus, what is it, like 9.9 bushels an acre increase with that as well. So those things really, really add up. And really, if you're not saving on inputs, you're, increasing your yield potential, and that's going to put more money back in, and the system's going to pay for itself.
Absolutely. And I know we talked about the last one that you and I did with the questions that came in on downforce. And while downforce period is a very smart idea, no matter what you have, but I know one of the questions was the hydraulic versus pneumatic. And I know some of the pneumatic ones are on the older versions. The hydraulic with the quickness in the changes that it'll do on your depth to make sure you have a uniform depth, that's going to increase your yield too, because now you don't care where you parked the semi last time. You don't care where the grain cart was driving or the driveways, because you know that no matter how hard or soft that is, it'll even lift it up out so it doesn't go too deep. Even I don't know if we've
Right.
touched on that. Is with our system, it's not just down, so you're not going to drag it too deep through a soft spot, but perfect on a hard spot. It'll adjust itself, so you're always going to get the best.
Yeah, and it's the reaction time with hydraulic is 1 second, and pneumatic is up around 20 seconds. So
Yes.
that's a huge difference and really impactful on the crop that you grow. So if you have any questions or you want some real world examples, maybe we can run some numbers on your farm. You can always contact us and get that from Jay or from Zach or from Adam.
And that's a great point too, because I know we could, and you mentioned this, but we could go all day on spouting numbers from you and Purdue University and ISU and all these places that do all these numbers that have tested it. But none of that really resonates unless we talk about your specific operation. Do you have very many fields that have turns? Well, maybe the turn compensation isn't necessary, but the spray would be ideal. Or you have terraces you don't want to spray into, or waterways. So if you have a specific question, or would that work for XYZ, give us a call because we can punch that into all of our calculators and make sure that we're talking your numbers, not a generic number.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and then we got some big news. I see you're wearing the Opie hat this
Yeah.
morning, Jay. You got some big news from Opie. Let's talk about that.
Yes, Opie's doing an upgrade program. So if you have an Integris Pro system, the one with the RTUs, they are doing an upgrade. So you can upgrade the Integris to a Blue or an Epic system. You'll get 10% off on that upgrade. And I think the most significant is you don't have to pay any fees until 2027. So it's a good way to get out of a sunsetted type of system that's going to be going away to something that you can control your fans and anything else from wherever you are, in the beach in Mexico, on your couch, or on the farm. As long as you can log into something, you can control and see what your bins are doing, and then get some money taken off, and then also not have to pay a fee until 2027. It's the best of three worlds, actually.
Absolutely. So that's a win-win-win
There
scenario,
you
which
go.
are hard to come by. So if you have any questions on the Ag Leader stuff, any questions on the Opie upgrade, you can always give us a call at 712-744-4468. Find us on the web at htsag.com, or as always on Facebook, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, all at HTS Ag. Thanks, Jay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Frank.